It's a little bit of a rant about Hall effect keyboards, especially being kind of like a black pill in a way. So, as you can see, I like Hall effect keyboards. I've spent a little bit too much fucking money on them. Types of switches, all that shit. Well over like $1,000 in this crap. Not very happy about it, for the sake of science and whatnot, or just to satisfy my own self ego. Don't necessarily have a big issue with the boards itself. It's just it feels like there's a bit of a black pill that I've encountered trying to make these sound as good as MX switches or MX keyboards or just general custom mechanical keyboards. So I just wanted to go over a couple of points I've written down. So over $1,000, this is like what, 400. These two as Venom HE60, and that's the fucking Wooting 60 HE Plus. GT80 case, Holy 60 case, GT60 case. This should be basically stock apart from aluminum stabilizers and adding little PTFE tape in between big switches, the stems, just because there's a little bit of sound in between them that I didn't like. Or actually, I had them on this one. I had these keycaps on that one. There was a bit of a mismatch there, so I put them on and it kind of fixed it. Still, it's polycarbonate keycaps. They're gonna be just gonna make the sound a little bit more poppy and slightly clackier. Depends on what you like anyway. Overall, I'm happy. Yeah, you got your performance, your 0.01 whatever steps of actuation, 8,000 hertz, whatever the hell, extreme mode. Ooh, cool kind of things from ATK. You're definitely going to have the best experience with like playing FPS and whatnot with these kinds of keyboards, like FPS, rhythm games, that kind of thing. I mostly use these for OSU because I'm a bit of a snob in that kind of way. Did actually get down to roughly 35k, that kind of thing. They do help you out, especially not having to constantly go to a fixed reset point like a traditional keyboard. It's usually, they don't buy a keyboard like this and expect to get good straight away. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel a lot more response, but you're also going to make a little bit more mistakes. So trying to get used to that and getting better at the games. Obviously, the Wing 80HE, it's pretty expensive for what it is, especially if you get the whole like zinc alloy case from Wooding with the bloody module and all that kind of shit, like the keycaps and the cable. You could easily spend like 600 Australian on just getting the 80HE with like the setup you want, like maybe a custom braided cable, different switches, whatnot. That price is not that great, and like customizing them is not that great either for the price. Out of box value, like Hex 80, if you just got this on its own, you'd be pretty happy. Obviously, the sound is not quite there for me. It's the sound I'd feel anyway. If you want the best of the best, pretty good software configuration, that kind of thing. Just want to go on Counter-Strike, Valorant, OSU, that kind of thing, and just have like that edge. Go for the bloody Hex 80, I reckon, or the new Sonic 65. That's really good. The prices, they've been getting better, especially if you get like a plastic shell board, like the Amcho's A60 or whatever. That's going to run you maybe like $100 or something, depending on where you get it, maybe even less on AliExpress or whatever. But still going to give you roughly the same performance and that kind of Hall effect edge, especially even like the technologies. Like I'm pretty sure they've got all the SOCDs and stuff, all the mod taps, all the fancy words. Now for me, the cons, the biggest ones, is definitely sound and feel of the switches. Overall, I've got probably like 10 keyboards by now. Some of them are Hall effect, some of them are magnetic. My recent one is the Mellatrix Zoom Dynatic AL, polycarbonate, Wag Keys Dragon Linears with collaboration with Captain Sterling, I think. Pretty good. It works kind of well. The aluminum, I wish it had a different plate on it. I have the aluminum on there. Sounds quite high pitched, but you get like a good like feel from traditional MX switches that you're not really going to get with a Hall effect keyboard. That's one thing to keep in mind. And then the absolute black hole, trying to customize this 80HE to make it sound good. It just, not worth it. There was just like a guide on how to make these sound good, but you really just like test it and trying different switches and then, oh, you're $1,000 later and you're like, what the fuck did I just spend all my money on? Yeah, being black hole, basically. This is kind of what I mean. It's like a black pill because you're trying to make it sound good, but it's just never gonna sound as good or feel as good as a traditional keyboard, traditional mechanical. As much as I hate to say it, Hipio Tech was kind of right about these boards. I was trying to cope for a very long time going, oh, no, they feel as good as a MX, definitely. And then it's like, just give it a few, I was like, give it a few years, it's going to sound good. They're going to be the exact same. But still after 4 years or whatever of these keyboards been around, or I think it says 2020, I'd say is the earliest. Still, in my opinion, they've gotten far, but they haven't gotten far enough. Yeah, they haven't got as far as I wanted them to. Big reason why is that just there's inherent issues with the design of the magnetic switch. For example, you got your top, bottom housing, spring, and stem, right? Springs are kind of okay now, starting to get less and less pingy. If we take a look, there is a magnet in the stem, obviously. But that creates a massive issue with sound, because you're hearing something constantly metallic snapping down. And now this is good in some examples, like the mulberry tactile switches. They sound pretty good with a piece of metal in there. Whatever they use to do these magnets, it's like out of the board, they sound okay. But then you put them in the board and they just get really rattly, really chattery. It just doesn't really sound great. So yeah, HMX and Grain Gold is the manufacturer of the Lab TIs. Even the Duhok on-point switches or Lumius, whatever you want to call them. They're getting really good, but they're maybe like 20% there, I'd say, in terms of being next to an MX switch. Maybe 40%. Be a little bit more conservative with that valuation. The magnetic switch, you got a magnet in there. So it's going to be that chatter, or it's going to be that weird sound. People like that kind of marbliness, but that's not me. I don't really like that too much. There are some different switches, like the sorry, I'm digging my fucking skin. Or the AE boards, Raids HE switches, which are basically like a EC stem or an EC like housing with a magnet, inside of it. So it's basically like an EC switch with a magnet in there. They sound okay. They feel okay, but they lack the performance, in my opinion, of what a magnetic switch just with a normal stem has. Especially if you're trying to like play, I don't know, maybe in FPS it'll be okay, but in Osu it is not. In Osu or Mania or rhythm games where you have to constantly actuate a switch over and over again, it does not feel that great. It feels good for typing, really feels good for typing, but the EC switch feels good for typing. The raids are not too bad. There's also other flaws with the keyboard itself. The magnetic switches, they can't hold themselves in place. So in an MX switch, you've got the metal prongs. They can be held in by the hot swap socket, and they won't really move anywhere. So with that, you don't need to screw in the plate, MX board. That way you can have more of like a clean sound signature. But with the magnetic board, you can't really hold them in normally. So you have to have that plate and PCB sandwiched together with screws so that it holds itself, and then you don't have the issues with, one switch having a differentiation towards another because of it not being screwed in. So yeah, because there's just screws in between it, you're gonna have that issue of the sound like pinging. You have chatter. You're gonna have like unattractive sounds. You could potentially like try to like blue tack it in. That might work, but it's like a single use kind of thing. Something to friction fit the switches inside of the board. Maybe with like a piece of silicon that's like perfectly molded to the stem of the switch, and then the gap inside of the PCB. That could work, but obviously you use the keyboard more and more, depending even where you've got the screws attached for. Depending on how like your setup is, maybe a top mount might work okay, or not top mount, a tray mount might work okay. You have like a top mount and it's not on the PCB, it's on the plate. You might press down the switch. Over time, it might like force itself out. So obviously that's not optimal, especially if you're trying to like game with it as well. Because you can imagine like a switch not actuating when you want it to is being inconsistent. Problems all across the board. If there's no way for the switch to hold itself in, you have to use the screws, because you have to make sure the magnetic flux is the same across the board, or at least consistent, so the performance works of the board. So that's just inherent design flaw. There's nothing you can really do about it. So TMR is probably going to start kicking off next year, I'd say. It's more of a cope, really. It probably won't change anything sound or feel. I see the videos of the TMR boards now with the hot swap socket and the offset, the sensor being in a different place, and they could fit it on there, being smaller. Yeah, cool. But you put a mechanical switch inside of a magnetic board or a TMR board, you don't have your rapid trigger anymore. So there's no real point. It is just a big cope. It's like you can have your bloody keys on WASD for your games, but it's not really a good compromise, because you're not just playing with WASD on just SOCD. You're also relying on the other keys to have some sort of rapid trigger. So when you press it, it's gonna press. Or when you can have the adjustable actuation on those switches. So it really is just a kind of cope. The latency is going to be better. So in terms of Hall effect phasing out and welcoming in TMR, it's going to basically be the same. It's going to be better. You're going to have less latency. You're going to have less power consumption. You might have wireless, that kind of thing. But the core design of the magnetic switch is just not changing, even if it goes into TMR. I'm hoping they come in. I'm hoping they makes me eat my words, finds a way to make them sound really good. Like if TMR was like the whole, like the angel coming down from heaven, saving us bloody mortals of the Hall effect scene, then yeah, let's do it. I want to see it happen. Logically thinking, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's just going to be more of the same of what we've already seen. Not going to change much. It's just going to improve latency, maybe some features, maybe some wireless. That's cool. The core design is still the same. What would be my recommendations? Is probably just get one of these for gaming and just leave it. So if you get a 80HE, just get it in the plastic case or whatever. Leave the lacquers in there and just leave it as it is. Use it for gaming. Use it for Hall effect, use it for rapid trigger, use it for SOCD, but just leave it. Because I'm telling you right now, it's just going to lead you into a money pit that I've experienced. You always change the board, change the switches, it's going to sound a little better, whatever. I recommend just going one of these, leave the plastic case or get an aluminum case, whatever. Do what you want. It's your money. Then get some switches, but don't expect it to sound any good like the other boards, the MX boards. It's not gonna. Just no matter what you do, it's going to have that core design flaw and it's not going to sound as good. So I'd leave these for gaming because that's where they shine. Then my next recommendation is to just get like a custom board. So I've got Millitrix here. Pretty good. Traditional MX. Sounds pretty good. Feels pretty good. Good for typing. I would just get one. Just use for every day. You type on it. Yeah, you just use it every day. You type on it. You customize it. You know what you're buying. You know you can make it sound good. Because that is the benchmark. Getting an MX board for sound and feel and just customizability and like design, that's the benchmark. And I don't think magnetic boards are going to be there anytime soon. Maybe for the next 5-10 years. Or maybe 5. I'd say probably in due time it'll be better. But right now, no. Hall effect board for gaming. Custom keyboard for typing. Have your two. There you go. And all we have to do now, once you've got those two, is just wait. Just wait until something like someone eats my word or eat my words. Like Neo might come down, or Neo or Quarter Keys or whatever. They'll go, here's a freaking board that we made, and it sounds just as good as MX. Cool, you got me, right? Go with that. But that's going to take a lot of time. So don't expect it to be anywhere in the near future. The only thing I will say is maybe next year when they make an Azoth Extreme, Asus makes an Azoth Extreme, and they use the HFX like lineup, and they just combine that together, go for that. Because I guarantee that's probably going to sound really good, but the big con is the price. Like it's going to be like $1,000 keyboard. So you're not really going to be able to go anywhere else around it. Because yeah, the Asus Hall effect, their switches, they're offset. And they've got like I don't know if they've got like a deep, like a long pole or whatever. But I don't know, I can't really say. I haven't tried one because obviously I'm not going to probably buy an Asus keyboard anytime soon. But from what it looks like, the magnet is offset. It's a little smaller. It's a little bit higher, so it's like part that's been like smacking against the PCB. And it looks like it sounds a little more traditional towards like an MX switch. They might have the best one. At least I think they would. Or I think they do from what I've seen. Yeah, Asus might have the best one next year. It's going to be expensive, I guarantee you. Like, it's going to be a really expensive board. If they do the same, like, Azoth Extreme that they have already, and they just put HFX on it, it's going to be very expensive. Like, we've seen the Falchata pricing, man. That's pretty expensive. Like, the Falchata is a really nice keyboard, but it's like $600. Obviously, a little different if you're not using Monopoly money like we do, but yeah. It's pretty damn expensive. And then that Azoth Extreme is just going to be even more expensive. I'm excited for it, but I'm probably not going to get it. But if anyone's like, your oil princes or whatever, or you got the good job and you can justify buying it, there you go. There's probably your board that will probably be the best one in the magnetic Hall effect scene. Apart from that, Grain Gold and HMX, they're making their strides. Magnetic switch scene. They're sounding good, like your Alab TIs, your HMX bloody crystals. They're sounding pretty good. Obviously, they're not there yet, but they might be in a couple years. Maybe someone will make like an offset PCB and then they'll support switches for that. Other than that, really, I did it right over here. Maybe Wooding can take the finger out of their asses and address the inherent design issues, especially since it's been quite a while the keyboard's reigning supreme. Maybe they can develop TMR correctly with an offset center position, who knows. I wrote that in there. I love Wooding, bro. I really do. They're a great company. I'm quite the shill. I love the software. Yeah, they're kind of stuck in the same place. Even the 60H V2. Like, why don't you make just a 65, or why don't you make like a TKL? That's their philosophy. They've got the whole like split thing going on as well with the spacebar. Whatever. They're making decent strides in their thing, and it doesn't look like the V2 is going to be more expensive than the V1 or the Plus. Well, maybe like a little bit. I think they just need to, I'm not saying abandon the Hall effect technology, but they need to like figure out a way to bring like long pole stems into magnets, just the traditional way that MX switches feel. And it sounds a bit like schizo and kooky, but they're a great company. But yeah, they need to start innovating. I reckon they need to advance their technology up, because they're just kind of riding their Hall effect wave out probably until they sink. But they can really like turn it around and make something nice, I reckon, and make something on par with MX. Little afterthoughts here. Definitely, it kind of feels like I've wasted a bit of money, you know, experimenting with these keyboards, building them up, like all together. I'm not even going to bloody say the price. Too expensive, man. It has been good researching into switches, trying to get to that point of trying to make it sound as good as MX, but it's still not there yet. It's been a good run. Still, the run isn't over. I'm not sure if the screen is still recording or not. I will just finish this off. I'm happy I was able to buy these keyboards, test them out. You know, they feel really good for gaming capabilities of rapid trigger and all that. We need to just wait a while. So yeah, recommendations: Hall of Fame for gaming, custom keyboard for typing, and you should be good. Like I've got a Neo 80 CU on the way. I'm really excited for that. I built that Mellatrix Zoom TKL Dyna. Happy with that thing. Maybe it needs to sound a little better, but that's preference. Just, yeah, go do that, I reckon. Don't go too crazy like I did, testing out all the switches and stuff. Like, yeah, it's nice seeing all the videos of new Hall effect switches coming out and the tests, and it's like, oh, this sounds good. And then when you actually put it into practice, it doesn't really sound great. Yeah, just take it easy, ride the wave out, see if TMI actually will flip it around like people think that it will. I don't think it will, but anything could happen. Maybe somebody makes like a, I don't know, closes the bottom of a magnetic stem, makes it sound really good or whatever. I don't know. We'll have to see. Plenty of time for innovation anyway. So thanks for listening. This is my rant over. Not sure if I'll be making more videos about this kind of thing or about keyboards in general or whatever, but we'll see what happens. Okay. Thank you.